I must admit that when I look around society today, I see a lot of shortage of real men. But it's no problem to look around and see women being empowered. But men, we are called toxic, we're maligned, even saying that we're optional or obsolete. Even sometimes saying that men are inferior to women. And you know what? A question that I wish people would still keep asking is, where have all the real men gone? But look, as a man, we are called to be better. There's a lot that's expected of us. And really, when you look around, we're held to a higher standard legally than women, and just in general from women and children. So what that means is we need to be living up to those expectations that are placed upon us. And as I mentioned before, there's really not a good roadmap for that. So men, are you living up to what's expected of you? Are you actually raising the bar every day so you'll be a better man today than you were yesterday? Do you have the courage to stand out from the ordinary to become extraordinary? Well, there are a bunch of actions that men should be doing to actually make this happen. And today, I'm going to talk about it. So, let's get at it. So the first action men should be taking is protecting. Men, you must rise up to the challenge to be the protector. Man as a protector does not mean that he's actually the oppressor. No, he's the protector of the weak. See, from a physical standpoint, men are stronger than women. And yeah, we're stronger than children too. And we're also endowed with certain attributes that put us, as men, in a unique position to be the protector. We, as men, must be willing to be the protector. We need to protect women, we need to protect children, we need to protect the weak and the defenseless. See, men, you must be willing to protect others, even if that means inconveniencing yourself, even if it means you come to harm, and yes, even death. And look, women, that is the basis of why you should submit to your husband and why you should be submitting to the man in your life. He's willing to die for you, so make him a sandwich. He's willing to put himself in harm's way. So I don't know, grab his plate off the table when you go put yours up. That's a simple thing we're asking for. Number two, men act like gentlemen. Like I said earlier, though men are stronger than women, it doesn't mean that we're actually here to subjugate women. And that means being a gentleman. Now, this is Legacy Gentleman, so I've gone over what a gentleman is and what he does a whole bunch of times. But specifically in this instance, I'm talking about being a gentleman means that you put the welfare of women as more important than yours. Let me make sure you understand what I said there. You don't make yourself less for the sake of her. You put her welfare and comfort above yours. What does that actually look like? It means you open the door for younger or older women. It means you walk along the side of the road where the danger side is. If y'all are out together and she's a little cold, you give her your jacket. You respect women, you pass sincere compliments to her, you help her to her seat, you say polite words, and many, many other things. That's what being part of what being a gentleman is. You give yourself a little discomfort to make her more comfortable. Number three, you're using your time wisely. Look, nothing saddens me more than when I come across guys and be like, what have you doing all day? Oh, I play video games, or I surf the internet mindlessly, or I watched a bunch of crappy TV shows or movie. It is just a complete waste of time. And look, guys, I must admit, I've been guilty of this in times in my life. But when you realize that killing time is just one of the greatest crimes you commit on yourself, you have a purpose you should be working toward. And that time you wasted, you will never get it back. You know what? We really must heed to this notion that I am busy working on my purpose. And when I get closer to that purpose, it's when I'll have more free time. But until then, how am I hustling on my purpose? That's what you should be doing, managing that time well, guys. The next thing a man is always doing is improving himself. Well then, look, We're all human, so there's a lot of things that we can improve on in our life. And honestly, even as you get on your deathbed, there'll still be things you can be learning even in your last breath. That means you will never, ever, ever run out of things to improve on. So instead of wasting time like I talked about earlier, why not exercise and develop your body? Seek to improve your health. Read some more books. Look, a lot of great men who lived on this earth actually wrote their ideas down in book. And there is no better way to actually read the mind of some of these successful men than by reading their book. And look, if nothing else, read the Bible. I think that's the greatest way you could actually invest your time. Even past this, to improve yourself, learn some new talents. It's never too late to learn, like to play an instrument or something. You also need to be learning manly skills. Yep, I'm talking about plumbing, carpentry, working on electronics. Like me, I love working on cars, even though I don't get that much time to do it, but still, these are things that you can do. There's a saying that the biggest room is the room for improvement. You must recognize that there are things about yourself you can improve and really focus on the stuff that helps you reach your purpose. So men, always be improving. The next thing is men should have goals for life. A man without ambition is not a man. You really should have a purpose for your life and know what direction you're going. That means you must have short, medium, and long-term goals for your life. And look, what your ultimate goal for life is, you really must have it in the back of your mind and be working toward it. Man, you should have a clear understanding of what's to be done with your life. And man, when you set your goals, you must really have a drive, be resourceful, and have the ability, and build yourself up the abilities to actually achieve these goals. Men, set some goals. Men, you should be apologizing when you need to apologize. See, look, men, we're all wired to want to protect our pride and our ego. And we have a tendency really to not admit when we've done wrong. Sometimes, we could even use every excuse in the book, say why it's not our fault. Because look, pride is part of human nature, and overcoming pride is something that you really have to do. You must know when you've made a mistake and be willing to confess up to it. Say you're sorry. Can you imagine if all the world leaders did that? They were like, yep, invaded your country, kind of a wrong thing, my bad. I think that'd make the world a better place. So actually make the world where you live a better place by knowing how to say sorry. Next, men are accepting responsibilities. This is something I've talked about before. You will forever remain a boy if you don't accept responsibility. One of the ways to become mature is to make decisions and have the courage to accept the outcomes of those decisions. Men, you must be willing to take responsibility for your actions and not blame others when things go wrong. You have to be the guy who says, yep, I made the call, it didn't work out, and I've learned from it. And that's what you really need to do. Because when you don't do that, you're really postponing your growth as a man, and you're actually probably regressing if you're doing it way too much. Men, you should be taking responsibility. The next action men should be taking is keeping their word. Honoring your word should be such a solid part of who you are that it's what people define you as, a person who keeps his word. And look, especially when you're starting out, man, your word is all you have. And once you ruin your word, once you ruin your reputation, it is almost impossible to get it back. And one of the ways to quickly destroy that reputation is to not be a man of your word. So always be acting on your word. Next, man, you gotta have the heart of a servant. Look, man, it's nothing wrong with having ambition. You should be very ambitious, but you also need to not be selfish. And that's part of having a servant heart. Always find something to volunteer on. Volunteer to church, volunteer at a homeless shelter, volunteer at an animal rescue. But find something to volunteer. You must be willing to serve people, man. If you're just a greedy, power-hungry person who's looking for power and money, then you're really gonna push people away from you. and you're gonna become a monster. You must serve people and not think about what you can actually get from it. Because guys, actually serving people, it makes your life better and you're actually making the world better. Next, men treat women with respect. Now look, make sure you understand what I'm saying, especially in a relationship. When it comes to relationship, men, you're the head of that relationship, you're the leader, and that's how it really should be. But that doesn't mean women aren't very special, because they are. They're your helpmate, and if you pick the right woman, she's a compliment to your life, which is what you should be looking for anyway. But that means you also don't play around with the emotions of women. You let them know what you're looking for, you tell them what you actually expect of them, and you're always honest with them. That's part of keeping that word like I talked about earlier. You must treat women with respect and love. And here is what respect means. It means that you need to actually be a husband before you get married. Just like your wife needs to be a wife before she gets married. But from a man perspective, that means you make sure that you're physically, emotionally, mentally, fiscally, and spiritually able to rule your future household. Next, men control their emotions. When strong emotions set in, it gets very difficult to control it. Men, you should be in control of your emotions so you can actually make rational decisions. See, when emotions come in, whether it's fear, frustration, or anger, you make decisions that are usually bad. So men, you gotta control your emotions so you can be the level-headed one, making the right decisions in the relationship that you should be leading. And the last point is men should be influencing people. Whether you like it or not, you set the example for other people. Therefore, it needs to be a good one, right? You can't be a hypocrite. You cannot preach one thing and then be acting out another way. This just doesn't work. In your life, you need to be living the song you're singing. That is the best way to influence other people. Men encourage, they inspire, and they motivate other men to be the best they can be because they are living that life. When you see other people struggling and you can actually help them, you by your actions actually move them forward. That means you are never passive, men. You're not passive in your life, you're not passive in the life of the people who actually count on you. Men, you have to take the initiative to actually make sure things get done. I got a bonus one, actually. You should all be following the example of your ultimate role model. For me, my ultimate role model, I'm gonna use the words of Apostle Paul when he said, imitate me as I imitate Christ. And that's in 1 Corinthians. And so for me, Christ showed the way that men should act, how you should lead, how you should love, how you should be uncompromising, and how you should aim to be the best you can be in the eyes of God. So for me, I follow the example of Christ, and I'm going to live my life in a certain way so I'll eventually be a man after God's own heart. All right, gentlemen, I've gone through quite a few actions here that men should be doing. While these are not all the actions that men should be doing, I guarantee you that if you execute these things properly, nobody's going to be looking at you saying, where have all the men gone? Thanks for stopping by. Go be legendary, and I'll see you next time.